This week, in honor of International Women's Day at Abundance Academy, we are holding an interview series featuring incredibly successful women. And we are talking about money this week. This is a subject that is really, truly dear to my heart. And I'm going to be holding candid conversations with some incredible leaders, what they've really observed about money over the years, a sneak peek into their relationship with money, and how it really impacts their business. And they will also have some tips for you. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Larissa McCook. I'm author of the upcoming Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away and CEO of Abundance Academy, where we help professional women whose external results tell the world they're successful, and on the inside, they know they're destined for more. We help them stop holding themselves back so they can truly go after their dreams, and they can love themselves, love their business, and create absolute magic in their lives. And today we are meeting with, I am so excited, Michele Devlin. Michele is an entrepreneurial maven who has built and grown several seven-figure businesses and authored 2 best-selling books. And her innate drive to seize a life of peace, prosperity, and purpose really allowed her to overcome a poverty-stricken trailer park upbringing, abuse, several life-threatening illnesses, and she's been able to create this beautiful life and business that she absolutely loves and adores. And I know her well as a wife, a mother, a boater, a skier, a writer, a researcher, business leader, author, and my good friend as well. Michele really does wear many hats. And whether she is at a business dinner or kicking up her heels, she is just bringing fun into all aspects of her life. And her enthusiasm is just contagious. So I am so blessed that she's here. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Michele. I really do appreciate your presence. So welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Larissa. It's really a pleasure to be here and an honor. And thank you for having me on your show today.
You're welcome. So Michele, I would love for you to let people know just a little bit about what you do and how you help people, because you work in the financial industry. And I think that's not everyone's everyday normal. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about that.
Sure. So I own a insurance company known as Associate General Agency, or an AGA. Our corporate name is MacDev Financial, and we deal with safer type financial strategies. So we're doing things like critical illness, disability, segregated funds, annuity, but our specialty is participating whole life. And participating whole life has quite a few concepts around it. We actually own the rights through one of our other companies, Set Financial Solutions, to bank on yourself, which is out of the States. And that was developed by Pamela Yellen. And bank on yourself and infinite banking concept, I've got agents that are authorized in that as well. And Wealth Factory is all talking about the same thing, participating whole life. And why we're so passionate about it, and it's particularly for women, is the ability to safeguard your finances and leave a legacy for your children and grandchildren, and use it today. So within those policies, there's equity that builds up, just like a home. You know how you get equity in your home, the more you pay it off, the more money you have available for, like a HELOC. Same kind of idea. This way, you take the money out of your policy and it's within 10 days. This gives financial freedom to women and a security of having an emergency fund when you need it, like during COVID, when we rescued quite a few people that were small business owners, medium-sized business owners, large business owners. They all relied on their whole life policies to get them through over the initial impact and carry them through. And now they're all doing even better than they were before. So it's really satisfying to see that we're able to help people in that magnitude.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I know, so how have you observed women's relationship with money in your line of work in particular, right? I mean, we all have a relationship with money. However, how has women's relationship really differed from the men's relationship with money? What have you noticed?
It's funny because now I'm getting closer to 60. I'm 57. So I've grown up through quite a few different eras and women's movements and things like that. And I'm still finding that there is a reliance on, with women still, what is the husband going to say? What is the husband going to do? What happens if something happens to my husband? And there's lots of us who are in like different situations where now the husband is at home with the children, which is fantastic. And it's still, security is the number one thing I hear about from women, is making sure their children are okay. And if they struggle, because in Canada, a lot of wealth is actually first generation, and therefore people really don't have parents or grandparents to go back to ask how to handle their money. And so they're learning. So these women are learning. They're in different roles now, and they're learning, and they still have the same concerns that they did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Are my kids going to be okay? Are my grandchildren going to be okay? And that's where we come in, and we're building that legacy, building that legacy. So women have the safety net. And I have to say, participating whole life in a divorce situation, that doesn't happen. It's protected against it. Same with the CRA and probate. So it's a very secure kind of financial strategy that you can use to safeguard yourself, your finances, and your family.
Yeah. So women tend to gravitate towards safety as the most important thing when it comes to money. That's
an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think are the biggest challenges women face when it comes to money? And how do you think we can overcome them?
Yeah, it's odd. I still find that there's a bit of an ownership block that comes over women. And I had hoped we'd be a little farther than we are. However, even I've come across it. I came from a very, very, poor background, very low income. I had a single mother raising two children on her own in the 60s and throughout the 70s. And she did get remarried. It's that, yeah, it's still that safety and making sure that the family is okay. It's still pretty heavy on women.
Yeah.
And that's where, the financial obstacles come up, because there's still that check-in. You know, will my husband allow me to do this? Will
Yeah.
my husband agree with this? Instead of, I'm doing this. This is for the good of myself and the family. Or maybe it is for yourself. That's great. So it's that sort of like spending money on ourselves, and not just buying like, nice jackets or nice shoes or whatever. It's actually spending money on yourself, whether it be a retreat or whatever. And definitely it's gotten much, much better. And I think it still can get better.
Yeah. And I like to call it investing in yourself, because
Yes.
ultimately everything is investment, whether it's time, money, or energy. You are investing in yourself. And when you choose to invest in yourself, it also holds a lot more weight. I think sometimes the way we speak about things is important. One of the things, I love how you're bringing up the safety and also the ownership of it. I often talk about this idea of the three little pigs, right? You've got the one little pig that builds the straw house and it gets blown down by the big bad wolf. Then you've got the next one that builds the stick house and it gets blown down by the big bad wolf. And then the third pig builds the brick house. And when you build a solid foundation, and when you keep building the solid house on top of a solid foundation, the big bad wolf can't blow it down. It doesn't. And for us, the big bad wolf might look like some of these limiting beliefs that you're talking about. It might look like not having an example of financial freedom or independence, not having money be a normal conversation. And I think this is one of the reasons I wanted to have these financial conversations this week, because so many women, I read a stat that 61% of women would rather talk about their own death than money. And when I saw that, I was just like, this is crazy. We need to normalize the conversation around money first and foremost. And I'm so incredibly passionate about helping women build a healthy relationship with money, right? I've got a master your money mindset series. So we could start the conversation and get people moving in the right direction. And I love that you work in this industry and you're so passionate about it, because the more we even are willing to talk about it, the more we can be empowered to make those choices. Would you agree?
Yeah, exactly, Larissa. It's it's funny because I've been married to my husband for 22 years, so we've gone through quite a bit together. And early on, he'd spend all this money, on these courses or different things or self-improvement, you name it, he was doing it. And some of them super, super expensive. And then when I started, it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. And then he started going, well, that's a lot of money. I went, well, you know what? I never said anything when you went through. So, that's the way it is. So, and that's it. Yeah. And he's like, yep. He just kind of kept going. Right.
Yeah.
So, and that's where my husband is great. He definitely recognizes when he said something that he probably shouldn't have. It's pretty much shut down quickly with me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key, is that you really do have to value yourself and invest in yourself and do the work that you need to do to get to where you want to go. And it's great if you have a supportive family, and I do. I've always had family that have supported me. I remember my mom saying to me, I just want you to be, better off than I was, where you're not struggling. And I struggled. I for sure struggled. I went through all kinds of things, an abusive first marriage and health issues, and you name it, like you said. And I still was always looking for that way to improve. And that's been the key to my life, is that no matter what life handed to me, I was always looking for the better, even when I was going through chemo. You could have a bad day in chemo if you choose it, or you could choose to have a better one and come out at least a bit better off. So, it's about that drive.
Yeah. And Michele, I think we've had this conversation in the past where you said, my mother always wanted me to just be a little better off than she was. And you didn't settle for a little better off than she was,
No.
right?
Yeah.
And you knew, right? She planted the seed. However, you listened to the better. You didn't say better off than she was. You focused on the better, 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 and really aspired to actually create a life that you wanted. You painted the picture and you went after it. And that took some time, and that took some desire. And I think, coming from a background where you came from, not a lot of women would have gotten to where you are now, especially with the obstacles. However, what I've noticed in you is you made a choice, and there were some very difficult moments. However, you decided that you were better than that, and you wanted what you wanted, and that was okay. And so if you were going to give advice to women that want to improve their financial literacy, right? Let's say financial literacy, so to speak, and really take control of their finances, what advice would you give them?
I think the big thing is to value who you are and value your relationship with money. And that means putting that value a little higher than maybe it has been. And that it's okay to have making money as a value. And I think there is that sort of struggle where, there's a bit of a block about women making good money and settling. And so it's, don't settle, do what you need to do. I had to take lots of courses. I had to do the internal work. You have courses on financial literacy and how that relates to mindset. Mindset is a huge, huge factor in this. And from my perspective, participating whole life is that good foundation to build upon, where you can actually take the money out to do the things you want to do without penalty. You get the money, you do your stuff, you pay it back on your terms. And it's about having some financial freedom and financial control, where you call the shots. We as women call the shots. We do it all the time at home. I stayed with my son at home and still ran businesses. I was in the home with him. I had people coming in for customer service and to help take care of my son while I was on the phone or whatever. However, you can do it. I've gone from destitute situations, even with my husband, where we lost a business and almost went bankrupt, to making money again. And it is out there. It's a matter of rallying and using as many resources as you can to get there. And I think for women, it's just a matter of owning it, really own it. It's
And
yours.
so I like to say 95% mindset, 5% mechanics.
That's right.
What would you rate it at? Are you like a 95, 5%er, or what would you say is the importance of mindset and really getting that mental game on, as well as being responsible for the mechanics?
Yeah, I think mindset is huge. If you don't have that 95% mindset, the mechanics aren't going to come along. So you have to be, so I say it a lot of times, when your mindset isn't where it should be, the opportunities float around you and you don't see them. And when your mindset is on, when you're at the 95% mindset where you're doing the things you need to do, you've scheduled the things you need to do. And let me tell you, being a parent, there are challenges for sure that come up. And then you just rally again. Don't beat yourself up, just keep going. And it's all about the mindset, because if you're beating yourself up, you're not in the right mindset again. So you need to be in the right mindset to build your future. And so, yeah, I think it's 95%. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the ideas and have the opportunities, because as soon as your mindset's clued in, those things that were floating around are right in front of you.
I'm so going to use that, because I've never heard it explained that way, but I love it. It's like when your mindset's not on, the opportunities are just right around you. You can see them, but they're not coming to you. And it really is so true. You just keep reaching, and then they've already moved. You keep reaching and you keep reaching and you keep reaching. I can sense this little bubble and this spiral going around me like an outer space. And my son would love that analogy. It really is so true, because you can see it and you can almost touch it, but then it just passes you by. And that really is a beautiful metaphor. And so, ladies, take control, decide. I think essentially you're saying, make a decision to just be in charge of yourself. And so we talk a lot about emotions, and emotions aren't evidence that we are wealthy. However, our emotional train can really help dictate and give us an idea of where our mindset is set. So in your very broad range of relationships with money and levels of financial security and abundance, what are some of the emotions? Like, if you were going to just say, maybe at this phase to this phase to this phase, what are some of the emotions that you noticed and the kinds of results you got from those emotions when it came to money specifically?
I remember this one point where we were going through some pretty good financial struggles, and there was a lot of fear around it, where, like I said, our business was not going the way we wanted it to go. We, had all these bills. We have a child, we have cars, we have a house, we have, all these things. And now a business that isn't working out as well as we had hoped. And I think it was 2008, 2009, when the markets were like taking a good plunge and all our money, where's our money go? Like 2008. And we were, gathering of friends, and we're all talking, and one of the friends pipes up and just says, you know what? It's just numbers floating out in the air. It's just numbers. We've done it before. We'll do it again. We're like, yeah, we will. We're just going to dig out. That's just the way it is. And so we learned a lot about money in 2008, where we were reading lots of books on what things work. We were learning how to pay off your mortgage faster. We came across Pamela Yellen's book, Bank on Yourself Revolution, or Bank on Yourself and then Bank on Yourself Revolution, Be Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash. We read and read and read and read, moved money around, and we turned the fear into a positive, because it was a learning experience for us. So we did that. We did learn about the things that we needed to do, and we moved forward on them and made a career out of it. Not only were we losing our business, we actually went into insurance because of it. So we are here because of that experience. We didn't lose anything. We didn't claim bankruptcy. We learned how to move money from one area to another to get us by. And that was it. It's taking that fear and turning it around, even if you're in desperate straits. It's like, yeah. And then the good relationship is, is really being, got some background noise here. Sorry.
I think you got some construction going on down there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things for me, was just like turning that fear into a positive, and then, having the business we have now.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And so do you have any final thoughts or any final words before we wrap up that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think that it is just, I've been in many situations where I am frightened. Like I feel like I need a mint because I'm just not going. It's like to keep everything down. I'm so like apprehensive and nervous and whatnot. And it's just pushing through it and learning how to do that. And you and I have those skills. We've learned how to control the anxiety that might come along. And it's not like I still get it. I do. I've just learned how to deal with it and use it to my benefit. And that's the thing is like, don't be afraid to take the step, take the risks. We took risks. Sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't. Most of the time they did, but you won't know until you do it. So you just got to take that step and take the leap and go for it.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. You've got to be willing to just take the next step and the next step and the next step and continue moving in the direction that you truly desire. And sometimes it is not easy. However, it's so worth it. And I know the beautiful life that you live. I know the beautiful houses you have. You have a beautiful family, and life is good. Life really is working out for you. And that's the attitude you've chosen to take. Because if you focus on what you want, you get more of it. If you focus on what you don't want, you get a lot more of it. And so often we get focusing on problems and, oh, well, this is not working. How can I get out? Well, you can't, because you're still focusing on what's not working. And I love how you keep focusing on service, on improving your company, on improving your team, on improving things for your client base. And you really cultivate a beautiful thing. So if someone is looking to speak with your team, or you don't take personal calls for your business, if someone wants to learn more about financial strategy, where would they go? Where would they go to connect to someone on your team?
Yeah, so we're macdevfinancial.com. That's where you'll find a lot of information. There's a lot of learning opportunities. If you go into your app store, you can find an app called Bank on Whole Life, BOWL. But put in Bank on Whole Life. It's in the Android, in the Google Play Store, and it's in the Apple Store as well. There's lots of learning information there, and you can also contact us through our app. Otherwise, you can also find us on LinkedIn under MacDev Financial, or under me personally under Michele Platje, Platje, Devlin, Devlin. That's Michele with one L.
I will get that link and I will make sure to pop that in. Let me see. Do I have that here somewhere? I feel like I had it somewhere. I should have had it ready. I'm sorry. We'll get that and pop it.
Yeah, we'll get that up. There we go. Okay.
Somewhere. Oh, there we go. I did. I'm like, I knew I had it just right here. That way. There we go. Beautiful.
Okay.
Technical stuff is done. Technical stuff is not always my favorite. However,
it's the theme of
important.
Theme of the week of the International Women's Day is technology, right? So,
and it's not Mercury retrograde. I looked it up. It doesn't happen until I think April, so we can't blame technology on that. We will just
no. And technology is important. That's something that we've really invested in our company, is technology. And
absolutely, I love it. So thank you so much, Michele, for joining me. I think this is a really important, powerful topic. And I know our viewers are going to get so much from this experience and from hearing from you. So if anyone listening is wanting to up-level their money mindset and really take their financial acuity to the next level. We are hosting at Abundance Academy the Master Your Money Mindset Masterclass. It is an hour and a half. It is absolutely free. And what you get to learn is why your money truths are a lie. So we're going to like do the Pinocchio thing, and you're going to be like, oh, this is what I've been saying. And yes, it's okay. You're going to love it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to talk about how your money programs came to be. And Michele mentioned some of them, these money programs, these things that you learned from your parents and these paradigms that you adopted from them. We're going to really talk about how they came to be and what you really want to do with them. And I'm going to show you how you can profit in any economy, because whether the markets are up, whether the markets are down, I promise you there is so much opportunity out there. People are looking for good people. And I'm going to really show you how to identify that for yourself, regardless of what's going on. So if you are a high achieving woman who's got a lot of good things going and want to really up level to the next level of success, I would love to see you there. And let me pop that link in the chat as well. There we go. Oh, I feel so organized. There we go. Beautiful. And thank you guys for joining us. I will be back again all week long with other people, other wonderful female leaders talking about money. We're going to have some very different and very beautiful conversations to normalize this experience of money, to normalize this conversation about money so you can start to love yourself, love your business, love your life, and love the money you earn. So you can really feel good about it and earn it beautifully and save it intelligently, grow it intelligently, spend it joyfully and cheerfully. So that's my goal, is for everyone to have a beautiful relationship. So